Alright, Q&A for episode 19, part 1. Here we go. First question from Catherine Giramita. I'm sorry if I pronounce your name wrong. Q&A: Orcs. Magnificent opening question. And predictably, the answer is Whoa! I hope this cleared everything out. Okay, next question from Commentator 4515. Q&A: Will you introduce 40k characters like Kaifus Kane and Jargon, Eisenhorn, or other known characters? If not, how would you see them interacting with the Star Wars galaxy and Tau? Okay, so bringing in canonical characters, especially big ones, is always a pain in the ass because everyone has their own, view how they should be depicted, especially with change of times. And I intend to bring some canonical characters, but they aren't that big ones, like they don't have their own book series, yeah? I mean, Kaifus Kane doesn't work for me because, he was killed and brought back to life countless times, and I honestly don't see how I could use him well, or even where to place him in the future season, because I do have plans, and I considered bringing different characters, and Kane just doesn't work. He doesn't fit in the narrative at all. Eisenhorn is even bigger problem because, first of all, he is from completely different region of the galaxy, but also timeline-wise it doesn't fit. If I remember correctly, Eisenhorn was born at the beginning of the 41st millennium, so looking timeline-wise, he would be like over 800 at this point, or around 800. Now, there are Inquisitors who live to that age. However, most of them are not rogue, radical Inquisitors. That's a bit much. And again, Eisenhorn interacts a lot with demons, with heretics, with the warp, and as I do not intend to, play with dark powers of the warp too much, because there is the Force in the Sky River Galaxy, he doesn't really fit the narrative either. So yeah, there will be canonical characters that will show up. Do not expect them to be the big ones. Okay? Okay, next question is from VKnox7328. Question for fun: how would Ravax react if he learned that his secret base at Scarif was raided by Blackthorn Dynasty? Predictably, cursing, screaming, barbarian rage, and just going mad with the fact that the Tau and their allies once again, outplayed him. Ravax faced defeats before, but that doesn't mean that he can handle the feeling of being defeated well. He's kind of guy who, you beat my ass, here I go for the round 2 to kill you. This happened with Battle of Furious Net. He got to Rune, and he currently is only interested in killing True Strike and then getting the fuck away. Go to Scarif and prepare for round 3 against the Tau. Or at least he would if Scarif wasn't, falling to the Blackthorns. This means that his options for round 3 are basically gone at this point, at least from his standpoint and plans. Not something he would handle well. Okay, next question from Miedziany Danielek 5202. it's a Polish nickname, so don't be surprised how I pronounced it. It is Miedziany Danielek. It translates to Copper Daniel, basically. The more you know. Anyway, Q&A. Hatter, do you think Galactic Republic would launch their own heavy mecha program if they learn about success that Ravax had with his Rancor against the Tau? What success? What success you are talking about? Because Rancor didn't really prove itself against the Tau. I mean, in Battle of Furious Ned, sure, he broke the line of defenses and barreled through most of a city, but when it fell into a trap, the Tau did overwhelm him, and he was forced to retreat. Currently, in Battle of Rune, the only win he has for now is that he didn't let himself be taken by surprise by a ghost kill. So, yeah, with things that are about to happen, I do not believe that the Republic would consider super heavy mechs similar to Rancor as optimal. It's more likely that they will try to copy the Tau designs. Hell, it's not even the Republic doing it, because the Republic doesn't have military and doesn't intend to change that for now. Corporations that are part of allied to the Republic will try. Most of them won't achieve anything impressive because, well, the Tau have several millennia worth of experience making mechs, and those corporations don't. So yeah, do not expect the Republic or the CIS to suddenly produce, mass amount of mechs to match or counter Tau or Rancor like mechs. I doubt that they would even consider such design. Okay, next question from Lipe-san. Hello, good to see you. Q&A. On multiple occasions, when militiamen are shown firing at battlesuits, it's stated that the shots hit the armor, which would only happen if the shields were deactivated. So tell me, is there a specific reason why the Tau aren't using the battlesuit's shields, or do they see Rune's soldiers as such negligible threat that they believe it's not even worth expending energy activating the shields? Energy shields are not standard equipment of Tau battlesuits. Like standard crisis suit has 4 spots where they can put either weapons or support systems. One of those support systems is a shield generator, but it is not standard equipment. Like, not every crisis suit has a shield generator. A lot of them have simply 3 weapon systems. Some have 2 weapons and 1 support system, and the support system doesn't need to be, shield generator. It can be multi-tracker, which helps with tracking multiple targets, if you could guess, and drone controller, which helps boosting, control over drones, as the name suggests. So the crisis suits we did see simply didn't have shield generators, and small arms used by infantry can't individually damage crisis suits. You either need a lot of concentrated firepower or heavier guns. Like, a heavy blaster repeater could damage or potentially even destroy a crisis suit. Yes, sure. But a standard blaster rifle, not so much. It's a bit more of a challenge. As for the scene with Ghost Kill, Ghost Kills don't have shield generators at all. They have relatively heavier armor than standard and stealth fields. They basically use their invisibility or mirror image that they can project as a way to, replace the shield generator that other suits can deploy. I think one of the few Tau suits that always have energy shields is Riptide, and Storm Surge, and and Supremacy. Yeah, I think that those three are have shield generators as a standard equipment. I would need to check others, but yeah, overall, not all Tau suits have shield generators as standard equipment. Okay, next question from Seiden Heiter. Again, sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. Q&A. When the orcs inevitably escape, how prepared do you think the Star Wars factions are to fight with/repel the orcs from infesting their territories? What do you think? Come now, man. The answer is obvious. The factions of this galaxy didn't see a proper war for almost a millennium. Like, the peak of their wars that they experienced is like, for us it would be equivalent of like wars between African warlords. Like, that's the peak of wars in Star Wars at this point in the timeline. Since the displacement, orcs are weaker because they are cut off from, greater orc presence, both physical and metaphysical, but that doesn't mean that they are, weak or pathetic. Like, the droid armies, the corporate droid armies, they would be seen basically as free scrap loot for the orcs. Without help from the Tau, or at least like help of tactical assistance, I do not believe that Star Wars factions are ready to fight orcs and without a doubt stop their infestation. They are not mentally ready for scorched earth policies that they will need to implement to ensure that the orc infestation can be either stopped or even destroyed. Okay, next question from Ivan Torres 641. Oh, hello again. Q&A. A Chaos Psyker would be more dangerous in Sky River Galaxy or less dangerous, knowing that they wouldn't have to worry about being possessed by demons, so they could explore their powers much more, but at the same time they were completely cut off from their gods' blessings. Yeah, being cut off from their patrons would be problematic, and no spoilers, but Chaos Psykers especially will experience some consequences connected to the Great Displacement. And the more powerful you are, the greater probability that some consequences will get to you. On the other hand, I would say that those Chaos Psykers that are still active aren't either more or less dangerous. They are still dangerous, and they can tap into the dark side, but I wouldn't call them more or less dangerous. They would need to adapt to the new reality and the rules of how to, or from where to draw their power. All in good time, I hope, will be revealed. Okay, next question from Rowan Williams 7947. Q&A. What has been your motivation, your reason to make stories like these, including your Star Wars X Warhammer 40k, and I personally hope it will be 2 more episodes. My reasoning for that is so you can do other stories instead. I'd love to see something related to your other favorite interested franchises. The reason I explained it in several of my videos, although none of them were like dedicated to the subject. But if I have to say it again, sure, here's the short version. I like writing, I like being creative, and I do it because I can. That's it, I can. I like it, and so I do it. If you want to get to, more details or background story, you will need to look at those other videos regarding my past and my old projects. As for Star Wars WH40k, I have plans for Season 2, quite significant ones, and I will not write two narratives at once. I tried that in the past, and it always ended in a disaster and burnout. So, yeah, there will be, Season 1, the great finale, then a pause, I will do other things, and then we will go to Season 2, which I hope will be equally, if not more, entertaining. Okay, next question from Landler98. Q&A. Where is Rune's high command during all of this? I would love to see their reactions to all of this. Listen mate, I think everyone can figure out for themselves how those incompetent bastards are acting right about now. And besides, a dedicated scene about their reaction is pointless, especially because of what I have planned for the future. So, trust the process. You will get a glance of something here and there before it all comes to an end. And besides, I try to keep my story concise and, solid. I do not have intention to show every perspective, because if I did, we would be stuck in place. The story must always move forward, or at least even a little bit, yeah? If you observe my episodes, you will see that even if some scenes somewhat overlap, I am trying to keep the feeling of momentum, that the story moves forward, but we are not stuck in place through the entire episode, yeah? Keeping this momentum, the feeling that the story, the narrative moves forward, even if perspectives change, is important. Sure, there are moments where the stories overlap to some extent, but I do my best to make sure that the feeling, the flow of a narrative is that we are moving forward, that we are not stuck in place. That is something that I desperately want to avoid, even if it costs us to see a perspective or two. I trust you that you can yourself as viewers fill up the gaps or, come up with your own visions of what happened. I cannot hold your hand and, show you every little detail on our path. I think you can figure out some things by yourselves. Okay, next question from DamLop8946. Q&A. Greetings Hatter, I hope you are in good health, and if not, that you will get better soon. I'm doing much better, mate. Turns out the problem I was facing wasn't as big as I feared, so yeah, I'm doing better. Thank you very much for asking. My question is, how does the energy in the Sea of Souls from Star Wars differ from WA energy of the orcs in 40k? Or if such thing as WA energy can be manifested in your Star Wars vs 40k universe? I ask why the very idea of a weird boy armed with a lightsaber, stumbling and jumping while shouting, "I's going to squig ya!" and then shoots arcs of green energy from his mouth and transforms someone into squig, I think it's the most fun. Well then, so, WA energy. I mentioned it before, and in the series, the orcs are significantly weakened in my crossover, in my story. Why? In 40k, it's many times stated that the orcs are so common, so prevalent throughout the galaxy that they basically became part of reality. So they are quintessential part of both material and immaterial reality. That's why the WA energy and the orcs are relatively strong and cannot be really dealt with. effectively. That's not the case in Star Wars. The number of orcs is extremely limited, and so is their influence on the Force or the Sea of Souls in this galaxy. So, the war energy is also weaker. There will be weird boys, and they can use, their weird magic stuff, but do not expect them to be as impressive as before, or even use lightsabers. I do not believe that any orc would ever be interested in using a lightsaber. Then again, if orcs will grow in number and power, there might be a new side of a Force.
The green side of the Force.
Okay, next question from Kasper Nakwiv 5997. Q&A, how would Tau react to the Empire's Project War Mantle from the Bad Batch and the Empire occupation of Janex in Maul Shadow Lord? Overall unimpressed? Okay, so Project War Mantle is basically Empire finally creating standing army of a galaxy-spanning civilization. And the Tau would say, congratulations that you managed to figure out such basic thing after a freaking Clone Wars. I mean, bravo, you figured out the obvious. Yeah? I mean, the Tau dealt with the Imperium of Man and the countless legions of the Imperial Guard. They are not going to be impressed that the newly formed Galactic Empire finally decided to create a standing army made out of citizens, rather than clones or droids. I mean, that's basic. That's very basic. The same for occupation of Janex. This is like the most basic stuff. The Tau occupied a lot of worlds, and they saw the occupation done by the Imperials and other factions in 40k. The Empire occupation is extremely unimpressive by 40k standards. It's nothing. It's less than nothing. It's congratulations, you know basics of occupation. Bravo. We are very impressed that you finally managed to put the square block into the square hole. Okay, next question from Bobby Morris 2979. Q&A, what would you say is the best planet to represent or be the primary model for the galactic powers at their height in Star Wars? So like a planet that would be personification of a given faction. I will limit myself to this era of Star Wars, so Republic, Huts, and let's say CIS. Okay, CIS. Republic. Corellia or Kuat. So core worlds with shipyards, with a lot of production, with a lot of political power, with strong corporations, but they don't really give a crap about anything else. They are, in their own basically pocket universe in the core. They get the wealth, they sell stuff out, and probability that they themselves be attacked or in danger is minimal. So yeah, that's the Republic. I think that Kuat and Corellia are a good representation of like the spirit of the Republic in this era. For the Huts, there is only one place that can be pointed at: Nar Shaddaa, the smuggler's moon. Actually, Artificial Dragon, the host of Can Mayonnaise Kill the Jedi podcast, made a really fun video on the subject not that long ago with his co-host Darth Celine, and yeah, Smuggler's Moon. Nar Shaddaa is basically personification of the criminal anarchy of the Hutt cartels and their territories. As for the CIS, it's more complicated because CIS have two sides, the corporate one and the ideological one. Ideological one is, the people who had true grievances with the Republic and wanted to leave, like Jabim, yeah, great example. And corporate holdings, well, you know, take your pick. Haipuri, let's say, yeah. Any world, corporate world fits. Yeah, I hope this answer is satisfying to you. Okay, next question from Atreides Battle Pug 7544. Q&A. Are there any Republic/CIS vehicles and or equipment that you think is actually well designed? Something like the Juggernaut I think is fairly solid vehicle, just needs some more firepower added. Interesting question, and frankly it deserves its own video, but to keep it to, let's say, three examples, I do enjoy AV7 cannon. It's a decent artillery piece. I would still prefer for it to have a better chassis, like on the tracks or wheels, but yeah, let's be the hover unit and the legs. Still, it's overall decent. As you said, Juggernaut is, in my opinion, one of the better super heavy vehicles designed at all. Though I do not believe that it needs more firepower, it has more than enough firepower. In fact, I think it needs shields, if anything. And for CIS, the droid gunship, the HMP droid gunship. It's overall really well designed. I like it. I like it. Maybe I will make a dedicated video on the subject somewhere in the future. Okay, next question from Tarot3078. Q&A. I discovered the series on the website Space Battle. When it comes time to post your video in written form, do you just post scripts or is there more work behind it? I just post scripts. I do not put more work into it because why? I mean, I'm not getting paid for, you know, putting more work into, you know, posting it on free-to-access forum. The only thing that I do is that you are 3 episodes behind in terms of writing. And because, at least for now, the number of people who are reading my work rather than listening to it on YouTube is rather limited, I do not believe I really lose money. In fact, this is very good promotional material to convince people to get to, you know, listening my proper series. Or so I believe. Okay, next question from Juan Pablo Arroyo Ave 5583. Oh, hello again, good to see you.
What's that?
Q&A. How excited are you for Total War 40k? We might get an Tau Auxiliary DLC in the future like the Tigerman. And with that last remark you basically hit the nail on the head. I'm skeptical. Look, I liked Total War in the past, but with them going to the Warhammer and their business practice regarding creating DLCs, many of them unbalanced, basically they create semi-complete, semi-okay game and they'll fill in the content with DLCs over the years, squeezing more and more money from the community as the times goes on. Not to mention some poor design in many places, atrocious AI. AI is shit in Total Wars currently, at least the last time I checked. The performance issues, yeah, we shall wait and see, but I am not optimistic. I am not excited at all, in fact. I grew too skeptical of the Total War series to get excited over this game. Okay, next question from Ultrasound77. Oh, hello good friend, what is your question? Q&A. So will Thorin Spider be involved with the aftermath of a battle and relatively will he reunite with his twin sister eventually? Don't worry Ultrasound, you will get a chance to voice the insidious Thorin Spider in the future. Patience, my friend, patience, all in good time. And the same goes for the potential meeting with his twin sister. All in good time. Okay, next question from Rayburn5169. Q&A, considering this question isn't a big story-defining spoiler, how defended is Scarif on the scale 1 to 10, 1 being barely defended, 10 being impregnable fortress? I mean, it's not really a secret now with this episode out. I think 4? Maybe 5? Most likely 4, yeah. 4 sounds right. I mean, look, it's a secret pirate base. Its main defenses is that nobody knows about it. It's a bunch of warehouses and forts on a bunch of islands. It's, you know, decent enough for a pirate, but it's not, you know, a true fortress. It's good enough. We see it in the episode. The Blackthorns basically smashed through the outer defenses and reached the main fortress with little to no opposition, at least compared to the forces they deployed. Okay, next question from Jack Zero Lantern. Q&A. Is the Farsight X Mass Effect series coming back during the pause between seasons? Yeah, I think it will. I want to do other stuff than Star Wars X Warhammer 40k. It's been a while since I did a poll on Patreon trying to make a video based on one of your requests. So yeah, after the season 1 is done, I will have, you know, a moment of pause. I will make other videos, and I will probably make more videos in between episodes. I will give myself more time for each episode of Star Wars X or Warhammer 40k series, unless I want to push like to some point in the narrative. We shall see. Next question from Fermo Nook. Q&A. During the Clone Wars, the Republic utilized large amount of EMP grenades and EMP bombs. How would those affect the Tau battlesuits of the era? The Tau have a lot of EMP weapons themselves, so expect them to be, you know, more defended from EMP attacks, because, you know, threat of friendly fire and not to be crippled by your own weapons would be nice. But of course the EMP weapons of Star Wars Galaxy will influence and affect the Tau battlesuits. I am trying to write an interesting narrative here and not make one faction overly, you know, powerful and just overwhelming every opposition. You might think it's ironic seeing the Battle of Rune, but remember, Rune is a complete backwater, and the corporate armies and fleets that they faced are far distance away from their fully upgraded versions from the Clone Wars era. So, yeah, you know. With Rune being type of planet it is, there was no scenario in which the Tau wouldn't be overwhelmingly stronger than the defenders. Okay, next question from Trigon W1L. Q&A. I recently rewatched the Battle of Furious Net and was reminded of Skolan Vairgeir, which made me curious. Would Skolan have accepted Maul's claim to the title of Mandalore, or would he have sided with Bo-Katan? He would despise both of them. Skolan wouldn't accept a Mandalore who wasn't trained and raised in outside of Mandalorian culture, so that's a strike against Maul. And in case of Bo-Katan, he wouldn't like her, simply as such. I think that if he was around and had an opening to do so, he would try to stake his own claim to the title of Mandalore. Okay, next question from Xaragusta. Q&A. How do you think Phil Kelly would write the Star Wars prequel trilogy? I know you are trying to troll me, but I will approach it, you know, with open mind. Or rather, certainty of what would happen. Prequels have terrible dialogue overall, and the narrative is very convoluted and all over the place. However, one strong side of the prequels is world building. When the original trilogy it was fun in terms of both narrative and the dialogue, the world building was, well, let's be honest, quite simplistic. There was the evil empire, the evil hearts who work with the empire, the rebellion, and the worlds that are, on the side of the rebellion. Very black and white, very one side and the other. In terms of prequels, far more shades of grey, far more factions, the Republic, the corporate factions, the Huts, and of course, within the Republic itself, the pro-democracy crowd and the future members of the Empire. So I personally adore the prequels because of their world building. If Phil Kelly was writing the prequels, he would keep the terrible dialogue, the terrible narrative, and he would somehow screw with world building. And the next question comes from TN231. Hello again, I see you are active in the comments. Q&A, which of the traitor legions would do well and which ones would do poorly if they were placed in the Star Wars galaxy? Okay, post-heresy, I'm guessing, traitor legions. Let's think, who would do poorly? Death Guard. Death Guard would do terribly because, well, they're cut off from Nurgle. So they're cut off from his blessings, which means all the sicknesses and mutations that riddle their bodies now hurt. So yeah, they are all gone. They are all go mad or fall apart. They are gonzo. Next one, World Eaters. Extremely dangerous, but the galaxy could unite against them quite early on, especially with how brutal and mad they are. And World Eaters, while dangerous, they have no freaking way of challenging the entire galaxy. So yeah, they would wipe themselves out through their mad bloodlust. With the butcher nails in their heads, they do not need corn to make them angry. And finally, with the list of those who would do poorly is the Black Legion. The Black Legion, their purpose is to overthrow the Imperium. There is no Imperium here, they lose their purpose, they fall apart. Simple as. As to who would do well, Alpha Legion. Alpha Legion would just continue to be the pranksters of this galaxy this time. Iron Warriors, because they are very well organized, so yeah, they could easily establish their own dominion in the Star Wars galaxy and keep it to themselves. And Night Lords. I think the Night Lords would be doing fine as, horrible pirates of the Outer Rim. I think they would do quite well. I'm uncertain about the other three Wordbearers. On one side, lost connection to the gods, so that's very big crisis, but on the other hand, it will be the first time they changed gods, so they could become the dark side cultists. I am unsure, maybe. Thousand Sons, magic mystery, but different nature of the Sea of Souls in the Star Wars galaxy, so maybe they will be doing well, maybe not, unsure. And the Emperor's Children. Similarly to Black Legion, they see themselves as true heirs to the throne of Terra, and without Terra they lose kind of purpose, and I think they would stumble, or they would do relatively well and take similar approach of the Night Lords and just have fun, maybe. So yeah, that's the list. Next question from Sub950. Oh, hello again. Q&A, how would the Sun Guard have influenced the battle if Governor Kong had hired them to fight for him? Sun Guard are professional folks, so maybe they would see the stealth suits before anyone else and begin a running battle against them. It wouldn't save Kong or his regime or the shield generators, but well, the first stage of the battle will be more chaotic and the soldiers will be more on the alarm regarding the invisible soldiers. Next question from Darth Sonic 4135. Oh, hello again, good to see you. Q&A. Kira's soul becomes the template for a clone army. We have now an army of Commander Shepards. How do the Clone Wars go with this change? And I'm including political ramifications because I get the impression Kira might become important with the Empire as the story progresses. The idea doesn't work at all. Kira's soul doesn't work as a clone template. Like, Django was chosen to be clone template for a specific reason, because he is a great fighter and he is genetically predisposed to be a great fighter, including Jedi killer. And you know, through training and flash training, you can put the tactical and military training into clones, as Kaminoans did, yeah? So Django works. However, Kira's soul, well, that's another matter. Kira's soul, yes, she is inspired by Commander Shepard, but she isn't Commander Shepard, so don't mistake one for the other, yeah? She is inspired by Commander Shepard, she isn't Commander Shepard. There is a significant difference there. More importantly, while Kira is a decent fighter, she is nowhere close Django in terms of firepower and threat of danger. What she is, however, is a great leader. You know, of course, Django also led others into battle, but if you look at his history, he basically led only other Mandalorians and he worked closely with very limited number of non-Mandalorians. Kira's soul, you know, if you remember, has a Trandoshan as one of her high-ranking lieutenants. You know, when Ravax the Red is a warlord who works with Kong. And yet, she has a Trandoshan in her ranks and they are loyal to her. That's her superpower, which eclipses ability of Django's in this regard. She is truly inspiring leader. Django could wish, could dream to have half the charisma and ability to read people and to make them trust her as Kira Soul can. There is a reason why she basically held the resistance movement against Kong for almost a decade. And what is important is that this skill cannot really be trained. It must be something you experience through trials and tribulations and experience and contact with others. So creating clones of Kira Soul simply doesn't work. Well, she will have important role to play in the future. I am not going to tell you what because, you know, spoilers. Okay, final question, and thanks for that because it's bloody midnight right now as I am recording. Final question from Nikos. Oh, good heavens, him again. What terrible question did you come up with this time, my friend? Q&A. You get 1 billion euros if you stay in one of those 4 rooms for 3 hours. Your options are a room with feral Ewok with rabies, a very polite Trandoshan that can't help but drool uncontrollably the moment he sees you, C. Nemthe, who is madly in love with you, D. Docile and toothless Wampa suffering with extremely dysentery. Which one do you pick? You are a sick man, Nikos. This is not the type of question I should be answering at freaking midnight. You absolute bastard. Fine, I will humor you. rotten egg. Option A is out of the question. I am not dealing with an Ewok, a feral Ewok with rabies. They're too dangerous. No way, no how, I am not picking that one. D is disgusting. Ain't no way I'm playing with that. Also terrible mental image. Thank you for that, Nikos. I will sleep soundly tonight. Bastard. C is just death. I know you wanted to be sneaky, Nikos, but reminder, Artificial Dragon, the host of Can Mayonnaise Kill a Jedi podcast, is my friend. And when I showed him this question, because I knew there had to be a hatch, he informed me that this alien species, the females, after the, well, mating ritual, they, got their males with a razor-sharp tongue. So, you know, good for you that you try to trick me, but unfortunately for you, I have power of friendship and anime on my side, so screw you. In the end, through process of elimination, answer B is the best, and frankly, it's no-brainer because, as you said yourself, it's a very polite tradition that rules when they see me. So, if they are polite, and they rule if they see me, I can politely ask that they close their eyes or turn around. That way, the long stay, the 3-hour stay in the room will not be awkward for either of us. Easy 3 billion euros and freedom to commission as much of Tau smut as I desire. And that's it for now. I will be working on the next video. Remember to like, comment, subscribe and ring that bell. Support me through Patreon, merch and coffee. Thank you for joining me and I hope you enjoyed. Now, my dear viewers and listeners, remember, wherever you are, whatever you do, try to enjoy yourself while you can. I wish you most heretical day. Ta-ta!